Shabbat Shalom. Hello. Shabbat Shalom. Hello. My mic's not on.
Is the rabbi's microphone on?
Hello. Is that better? There we go. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. I'm Rabbi Javier Carapan, and I'm joined this morning by Rabbi Monica Kleiman, Leslie, Carmen, Howard, and our technical team. Special thank you to our BOW committee for bringing us beyond our walls. And let us know if you are technically inclined. We'd love to have you on that team. This morning, we welcome also the family and friends of Shaefer Spizman. If you are watching us remotely on one of our platforms on Facebook Live, you will see a lot of information appear in the comments, including links and all that. And so you can follow a lot of the information there. We have a screen today, and it will kind of guide you through some of the pages. So if this is your first time, I think that might be helpful. The Bar Mitzvah this morning will do three main things. One, he will lead us in prayer in just a few minutes. He will be called up to the Torah for the first time, and he will read from the Hebrew and the Torah, and he will also share with us some words of wisdom, as the Var Torah, or sometimes they call it the Bar Mitzvah speech. The prayer book opens from right to left, and we're using all the pages in the square brackets. We read everything together. So there are no responsive readings, so you're welcome to join me or Shaefer during the service. We ask that you refrain from taking photos or videos during the service. This is being recorded, and it will be available to everybody on our streaming platforms after the service, so you can watch it. If you take a part in the service, you can watch yourself do it just after this. We ask you no applause, like, the speech is going to be wonderful, no applause. You can then approach Shaefer and congratulate him afterwards. And please take a moment to silence all your electronic devices and put away your cell phones and make sure that we don't get that introduction. Just one more thing. If you happen to be joining us on our virtual sanctuary, the PDF link is right above the player. Finally, again, this is only for those who are not here, but I want to say this because it might be important for some of you. If this is the first time you're joining us, we do have a technical assistance line. That's 913-303-1134. You can text that number. One of our docents will get back to you as soon as possible so you don't miss anything. Again, it's wonderful to see you all this morning. Welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Our service will continue now on page 290 with Ma Tovu. yada dai yada dai dai dai, yada dai yada dai dai dai, yada dai yada dai 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 dai. Atovu olecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Atovu olecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Yada dai yada dai dai dai, yada dai yada dai dai dai, yada dai yada dai 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 dai. We join together in the middle of page 291. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware we will lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch ata Adonai, rofeh chol basar umafli la'asot. Elohai neshama shenatata bi teorai. Elohai neshama shenatata bi teorai. Elohai neshama shenatata bi teorai, teorai. Elohai neshama shenatata bi teorai. Elohai neshama shenatata bi teorai. Page 297. Adonai, our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us and to the house of Israel, your people, that we and our children may be lovers of your name and students of your Torah. We praise you, O God, teacher of Torah to our people Israel. Baruch ata Adonai, hamelamed Torah le'amo Israel. Continue page 306 with Hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol haneshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol haneshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Would like to invite Shaefer to join me on the bima and ask everybody to turn to page 312. Hold on a second. Check again.
Hello? Okay.
Yes.
Yitkara v'yitkara shemei rabba be'alma divrach ute v'yamlich malchute Bechayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, vimeru, amen. Yehesh me rabba mevorach, le'alam u'me'omaya, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitraman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha b'rihu, le'ela, min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'meru, amen. Page 314. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcomed than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMe'orot. English on page 317. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully, we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habacher be'amo Yisrael, be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod, Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha
בכל לבבך וכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך.
והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתן לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם באמת.
Join me in reading the following on 321. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nezar ba'kodesh, no ra tehilo asefele, no ra tehilo asefele, shira chadisha, shibehu geulim, leshimcha al sfatayam, yachad kulam, hodu vehim lichu, ve'amru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. Tzor Yisrael, kumar bezrat Yisrael, ufidei chinumecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei HaKol, Ve'zocher Chastervot v'Imahot, U'mevi Gula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Leitim Atarav Lehoshia, Mahashiv HaRuach Umorit HaGashem, Mechacher Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Novolim Berofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, Ulido Melach, Melech Memidu Mechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman Ata L'Hachayot Meitim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaMeitim. Mekadesh Yeshua Olam, Yishem Shivati Shinoto B'Shemaro, Takatu Hayam V'Yecha, Mekadosh Yosef Ve'amor, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Merom Kol Haaretz,
bottom of page 329. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness and time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Join me in reading the English on the next page. On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. With patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yir'ah na'avod. I would like to invite my brother Elliot to join me on the bima.
Please join me on the bottom of page 332. We are only going to do the first 2 paragraphs and the last 2 paragraphs today. For the expanding grandeur of creations, world known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations, modim anachnu lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons, modim anachnu lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose, modim anachnu lach. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha na'eh lechodot. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, rein bo chesed berachamim berachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha.
continue silently through page 337.
You may be seated as soon as you finish the prayers on the page or the prayers in your heart. Ose shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel ve'imenu amen.
Service continues now with the service for the reading of the Torah. We will begin on page, 362, and then it will continue on the following pages, 364 and 366. There's a lot of pages one after the other. If you are in doubt, turn the page and you may find the prayers on the next page. Just a thought. We're going to be doing a lot of movement. We're going to take the scroll out, and Shaefer will lead it through the sanctuary. Some of you who are not as close to the aisles, if you like to touch the Torah as it goes around or kiss, you're going to have to move a little bit. So it's going to be a lot of movement. If for some of you this is the first time, you'll see it's not a commotion, but it's a lot of movement at the same time. And we kind of gather back together at the end of this. But for this section of the service, I would like to invite the ark openers, and they are Tom Logia and Jason Stearns. And then I also would like to invite Shaefer's parents, Karen and David, and Shaefer's grandmothers to join us all on the bima. And if you're able, please stand on page 362 for Ein Kamocha.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchut zecha malchut kol olamim, u'mimshal zecha v'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imlach.
Adon. It is our tradition to symbolically pass, well, physically too, but the symbol is that this Torah is coming from many generations before us, and we get to the last 2 generations before Shaefer. And physically speaking, this particular Torah scroll is a project that we did in our congregation a few years ago. And Shaefer's family got the honor to write one word, and it's the word or, which means light. And it's actually the first time that that word appears in the Torah, at the very beginning when God says, Yehi or, let there be light, and there was light. And this is a beautiful day. What I was going to say was not going to work if it was a cloudy day. But this brings so much light to our congregation every time we have a celebration like this. And I must say, I haven't seen this many people in person in almost 2 years. So it's great to see you all here. And you bring so much light to our congregation as a family. And we wish you well, and we know you will carry the teachings of this Torah moving forward, bringing more light into the world. So we're going to start with the grandmas. There you go. Mazel tov. Congratulations. It's not that big. It's a baby. That's what we're trying to do.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlu Adonai iti, Urechomema Shemo Yachdav. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'isachtavu behar kodsho. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'isachtavu behar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Robenu. Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Robenu. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'isachtavu behar kodsho. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'isachtavu behar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Robenu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Robenu. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'isachtavu behar kodsho. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'isachtavu behar kodsho. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omer. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omer.
As I mentioned at the very beginning, Shaefer this morning is going to do 3 main things. He led our service a few minutes ago. Now it's time for his Dvar Torah, his we'll call speech. All right. You're ready?
Shabbat Shalom. My Torah portion is called Metzorah in the book of Leviticus. The Torah portion talks about different ways to cleanse a person who gets affected by a skin ailment, and it also covers when plagues occur inside a house. The portion discusses how people do a final ritual cleansing after they have been healed. Even though my portion was picked against my will, I still think that is one of the best ones that connects to my life. When I learned what it was about, the first thing that came to my mind was it's about a skin disease. But later on, I realized that it's about more than just that. In addition to details about cleansing after diseases and plagues, the portion also had me thinking about how we can accept other people with differences and how to be my best pure self. First off, for every way there is to do a final cleaning after a skin ailment, there's an alternative way for those who don't have enough money. It doesn't matter if you're different, poor or rich, white or black, man or woman. Each way gives a chance to be able to do the proper tasks in order to be clean and welcomed back into the community. For example, the Torah mentioned that if someone is poor and their means are insufficient, they should get a lamb, flour, oil, and either 2 turtle doves or pigeons to cleanse after leprosy, which are less expensive items than if you had more money to spend. I thought this was really interesting, and it connects with my life in a useful way. We shouldn't exclude people just because they're different from us. We should try to include them in every possible way, whether it's a sports team, club, project, and lots of other things that can be done with people. Sometimes people need help, like in my Torah portion, the people who have been affected would need help getting cleansed. Today, we should try to help people if they need it. That is why during Boy Scouts and during my Bar Mitzvah training, I helped with several food drives for Jewish family services. Another thing I thought about when reading today's Torah portion is that leprosy is an airborne disease. That is just like something we are dealing with today, COVID. Back then, if you had symptoms of leprosy, you would have to be examined, covering a span of about 7 to 14 days. If the affected skin had not changed, you would be declared as having leprosy. However, once the leprosy was cured, you would do a series of multiple steps and sacrifices, covering a span of 8 days, and then you would be clean and pure. This relates to how our society is handling COVID. In order to be clean, pure, and our best selves, we get the vaccine, wear our masks, social distance, and stay home if we are sick. We should try to protect others by not getting them sick, and they should protect us back. I'd like to tell you a story. While I've been lucky and have not had COVID, last summer at Camp Sabra, I came home with impetigo, a skin disease. For a while, my parents thought it was dry skin or something that would go away. It did not. After a while, I put Vaseline on it, but it just kept getting worse. My parents took the hint and finally took me to the doctor, where I got proper treatment and medicine, which made the impetigo go away. I wasn't ashamed of having impetigo. I was actually proud of it and showed it off whenever I could. I won't show you the pictures today, though, for your own good. Even though I want to, but... Anyway, I learned something important. Never be embarrassed or ashamed about something different from other people. And that doesn't just apply to me or the Torah, it should apply to all of us. Later in the Parsha, it talks about what to do when a house or building gets inflicted by the plague. I know it might sound weird, but I actually found it useful and interesting. I usually like to keep my house clean and tidy, but not everyone does that, and that's okay. But just as the Torah talks about how a house with a plague has to follow certain rules to be healed and cleansed, this impact can be like our homes today. If we don't keep them clean and tidy, something might happen. And it doesn't have to be plague related. It can be like you lost something, or things are breaking apart, or something smells really bad. So just like the Torah says, it's important to keep clean.
Let us find the place first.
Right here.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Okay. This morning, we'll be reading from Parashat Metzorah, the book of Leviticus, chapter 14, beginning with verse 12. If you have in front of you Chumash, which is a red book, you can find the reading on page 842. For those of you joining us virtually, you can find a link in the comments directly to the Torah and Haftarah readings. We will begin reading the Torah, and for the first Aliyah, I would like to invite Betty Loja and Jackie Loja. Ta'amodna l'Aliyah Rishonah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Bilakach hakohen et hakeves ha'echad v'hikrivoto le'asham v'lo kashamen v'henifotam tenufa lifnei Adonai v'shachat et hakeves Bimkom asher yishchat et hachatat vet hola bimkom hakodesh ki kachatat Hasham hu la kohen kodesh kodashim hu v'lakach hakohen midam hasham v'natan hakohen al tenuch ozen hamitaher hayamanit bohen yado hayamanit bohen raglo hayamanit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lana Torah emet v'hayei olam atam b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Nice new hugs. Good job. All right, you guys can stand right over behind me. Thank you.
For the second Aliyah, I would like to invite Andy, Michelle, and Aviva. Ya'amdu l'Aliyah hashni'ah.
Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu michol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Lakach hakohen milo kashamen veyatzak al kaf hakohen hasemalit v'tava hakohen etzba'o hayamanit min hashemen asher al kapo hasemalit v'hiza min hashemen betzba'o Sheva pe'amim lifnei Adonai, umiyeter hashemen asher al kapo. Yitain hakohen al tenuch, ozein hamitaher hayamanit, babo hen yado hayamanit, babo hen raglo hayamanit, Adam hasham.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
For the third aliyah, I would like to invite a member of our congregation, and I think she has something to do with this too. Miss Linda Rubin was Shaefer's tutor. Ta'amod l'aliyah shlishit. There's only three, I'm listening to count.
Baruch hu et Adonai havarach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai havarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'hanotar b'shemen asher al kaf hakohen yitain al rosh hamitaher v'chiper alav hakohen lifnei Adonai v'asa hakohen et hachatat v'chiper al hamitaher mitumato v'achar yishchat lehola v'he'ela hakohen et hola v'et hamincha hamizbecha v'chiper alav hakohen v'taher.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
You have been so amazing. You should be so proud of yourself.
For the fourth aliyah, I would like to invite Beth and Max Spizman. Ya'amdu l'aliyah revi'it.
Baruch hu et Adonai havarach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai havarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ve'in dahu ve'ein yado maseget v'lakach כבש אחד אשם, לתנופה לכפר עליו, בשרון סולת, אחד בלול בשמן, למנחה ולוג שמן, ושתי תורים. או שני בני יונה, אשר תשיג ידו, והיה אחד חטא ואחד עולה, והביא אותם ביום השמיני לטהרתו אל הכהן, אל פתח אוהל מועד לפני אדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you. Nice job.
For the fifth Aliyah, I would like to invite Dorothy, Mark, and Randy. יעמדו לעלייה החמישית.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'lakach hakohen et keves hasham v'log hashamen v'henif otam hakohen tenufa lifnei Adonai v'shachat et keves hasham. V'lakach hakohen midam hasham v'natan al tenuch ozen hamitaher hayamanit v'bohen yado hayamanit v'bohen raglo hayamanit umin hashemen nitzok hakohen al kaf hakohen hasemalit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayin olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
For the fifth Aliyah, I would like to invite Karen and David. Ya'amdu l'aliyat ashishit.
Baruch et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'hizah hakohen betzba'o hayamanit min hashemen asher al kapo hasemalit shava pe'amim lifnei Adonai v'natan hakohen min hashemen asher al kapo al tenuch ozen hamitaher hayamanit babohen yado hayamanit babohen raglo hayamanit al makom dam hasham v'hanotar min hashemen asher al kaf hakohen yitain al rosh hamitaher lechaper alav lifnei Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Oh, just wait. There's more coming today. All right, you gotta do the blessing. He's gonna do the fancy.
Yamod, 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 Pinchas Lior, Ben David, Binyamin Betova, Bar Mitzvah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Ve'asa et hachad min hatarim, o min b'nei hayonah, me'asher tasig yado, et asher tasig yado, et hachad chatat, ve'et hachad ola al hamincha, v'chiper hakohen, al hamitaher lifnei Adonai, zot Torat, asher bo negat zarat, asher lo tasig yado b'taharato.
All right, good job. Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet mechayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Can you
say it for him?
I love how comfortable Avi is around here.
Is that right?
No, that's not a relative.
No.
That's a friend. Avi Fandra.
Oh, okay. That's it. What are you doing here? Sorry. During this moment, we turn our thoughts to those in need of healing. You may have access to the Misheberach list through the e-news that you received this morning. You can also follow the link in the comments. If you'd like to offer names, please type them on the comment sign and a few words there. For those of us here in person, as I go around the sanctuary, I invite you to offer names. You can say their names out loud, I certainly. Join together, Misheberach on page 371. Source of strength, who bless them as before. As we think of those in need of healing, we offer a prayer for those suffering from addiction and mental health struggles. May the one who blessed our ancestors bring blessings of strength, compassion, and healing to those of us who struggle with the oppression of addiction, emotional distress, and mental suffering. Surround them with loving kindness, grace, compassion, and peace. Service continues, on page 370. If you're able, please stand, and I would like to invite Suzanne and Jinzi. Ya Amado, Amakdia veHagolelet.
Besot HaTorah, Sher Sam Moshe, Tivnei Bnei Yisrael. Avi Adonai, Yad Hashem. Ya lai 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 lai,
Let me just make an announcement before. Excuse me. The service will continue now with the reading of the Haftarah. Again, if you are joining us virtually, you can find a link in the comments. For those of us here in person, if you like to follow it on the red book, the Chumash, is on page 1656. We're reading from the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 18 through 24. And if you want to follow the blessings, those are on page 372. And for that, we have Mr. Spizman back. One more time. Well, today. I have plans for you now.
Good. There are so many people who made this possible that I would like to thank. First off, thank you to Rabbi Kadapan, Leslie Zucker, and Rabbi Kleinman for helping me with anything I needed and being great leaders. Thank you to my Hebrew tutors, Linda Rubin and Leah Nash, for teaching me all of the prayers and how to chant Torah. I sound great with their help. Thank you to my past teachers for giving me a proper education and teaching me new things and talents. I'd also like to thank everyone who came here today, near and far, to watch me. And also to those who aren't here today and watching online. Finally, I would like to thank my family for always being there when I needed it. Thank you to my younger brother, Elliot. Even though you do annoy me sometimes, a lot. You do sometimes please me and play or leave me alone when I want it. Sometimes. And thank you to my mom and dad for always supporting me and taking care of me so I can be here today. Thank you. Today's Haftorah is for Shabbat HaGadol, which is the last of the 5 special Sabbaths before Passover. Haftorah portions are written by people called prophets, and usually we know the name of the person who writes the Haftorah. But in this case, no one knows the identity of the prophet. Since we don't know their name, we call the person Malachi, which means God's messenger. He lived in the land of Israel between 500 and 400 BCE. The Haftorah portion talks about freedom for the Israelites. According to modern commentators, this Haftorah reminds us that in the days before Passover, we should be more kind and nice to each other and not to be mean and rude. Malachi told the people of Israel that in the future, the people who were loyal to God will get justice, and the ones that were cruel towards others and not loyal will get destroyed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah ha Adonai habacher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'shavtem uritem bein tzadik l'rasa bein oved Elohim le'asher lo avado. Ki hine hayom ba bo'er katanur v'hayu chol zedim v'chol oseh risha kash v'lihat otam hayom haba amar Adonai tzvaot asher lo ya'azov lahem shoresh ve'anaf. V'zarcha lachem yir'ei shmi shemesh tzadaka umarpeh bichna peha v'itatem ufishtem kegle marbek. Ve'asotem rishayim ki yihiyu afer tachat kapot raglechem bayom asher ani oseh amar Adonai tzvaot. Zichru Torah Moshe Avdi Asher Tiviti Oto Bechorev Al Kol Yisrael Chukim Umishpatim. Hine Anochi Shaleach Lachem Et Eliyah Hanavi Lifnei Bo Yom Adonai Hagadol V'Hanara. V'heshiv lev avot al banim v'lev banim al avotam pen avot v'hiketi et haaretz cherem. Hine anochi sholeach lachem et Eliyah hanavi lifnei bo yom Adonai hagadol v'hanorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol ha'olamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'ad ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'naber mekayem shekol ra v'emet v'tzedek al ha'torah al ha'avadah al ha'nevi'im v'yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'kedusha v'limnucha l'chavod Tifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umevrachim otach yitbarach shimcha befi chol chai tamid leolam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Mazel tov, you finished it. Now, we're going to have a very special way of showing our appreciation and wishes later on, so just wait for that. It's coming. It's sweet and physical at the same time. But it doesn't involve touching you or giving you kisses or anything.
Good.
Well, I can't promise what happens next, but I know later on, I know. Because now it's time for your parents' blessings. So I'd like to invite David and Karen.
Shaefer, first of all, amazing job today. What came through so strongly is that you were committed to learn more than just the words you had to say in each prayer, but you were also committed to learning the meaning and history of what you shared with us. So as you led services today, we could learn too. All of us here today and watching virtually are so proud of you and hope you are also proud of yourself.
When we passed the Torah among your grandmothers, Dad, and me, we honored the contributions of our religion's ancestors. Of course, today's experience was new for us and most certainly new to you, yet it reminds us that the principles of our faith are rooted in generations of study and tradition. And now you share a special bond with all of those with the good fortune and very wonderful luck who have had Netzorah as their Torah portion.
Today, you read and chanted the same words that generations before us have. Yet you found and shared new perspectives within today's Parsha in a way that was so you. In just one, you told us how we should be celebrating differences. Your Devar Torah was thought-provoking, funny, and demonstrated how you cared deeply about others.
As you become a Bar Mitzvah and you're surrounded by family and friends, we also reflect on how you personally connect with your own family. Your Hebrew name, Pinchas, comes from Dad's father, Phil. And your middle Hebrew name, Lior, comes from my mother's mother, your great-grandmother, Lucille. Of course, when you were born, we had no way of knowing what your personality would be like. But like your grandpa Phil, you love food, you have a great sense of humor, and you go out of your way to help people. And like your great-grandmother, Lucille, you get along with nearly everyone. You have a passion for learning, and you are never without a book. And I'm gonna go off script a little and just say your middle name, Lior, is connected to the word that we wrote in the Torah that you chanted from today, or light.
In you, Shaefer, the combination of your ancestors' traits and your own Shaeferness comes together in the most beautiful way. You can be both strong and soft at the same time. You use your humor. I thought you were going to cry. You use your humor and intelligence in ways that bring people together versus tearing them down. You engage with others by acting on your wide variety of interests, and also by taking time to be inquisitive of your friends and family's likes and dislikes. And you act almost daily on your core belief that no one should be treated as the other.
Right. I just have to make it through this paragraph. So while at Beth Torah, you have learned about the 10 Jewish core values, like kavod, chesed, and tzedek. But today, right here, you have perfectly embodied the value of kulanu, which translates to all of us. If you look around and see all the people here today, you have brought them together for this joyous occasion. I don't think there's normally this many people here on Shabbat. Maybe I'm wrong. But you are inclusive and you make people feel welcome. You respect different backgrounds and the people around you without judgment.
Shaefer, whatever you do throughout life, your mom and I pray that your spirit continues to be so uniquely and undeniably Shaefer, and continues to bless our broad community for generations. We love you. And we won't kiss you again.
Yes. We'll hug you later.
They learn. They're quick learners. We continue with the end of the Torah service as we return the Torah scroll to the Ark, page 374. If you're able, please stand and join us in Etz Chaim.
It's Chaim.
They're on the way? Perfect. Sorry. as we gather on this special occasion, it is our tradition that we, as the rabbis, offer a blessing, but we'll also invite all of us here as a community to bless Shaefer and his family. Please join us.
May God bless you. May God keep you. May the light of the Holy One shine on you. May God's face be lifted up to you. The precious gift of peace. May God grant you the precious gift shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. You may be seated. Yes. We continue our service on page 586 with Aleinu L'Shabeach. And I'm sorry, if you're able, please stand and join us.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
As we prepare for our moment of remembrance, I invite you to turn to page 595. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. There are stars up above so far away. We see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways that we remember. So congregation, we are observing the Shloshim period for Ron Simons, brother of Linda Gepford, Lloyd Hellman, husband of Judy Hellman, father and father-in-law of Rick and Teresa Hellman, and brother-in-law of Marcia and Larry Reedmaster, and Kevin Casey Eichler, brother and brother-in-law of Kelly and Jim Kaplan. And on this Shabbat, we remember the following Yortzites: Ireno Bellotti, Sophie Boxer, Saul Brontman, Francis Butcher, Stanley R. Chambers, Arthur S. Chapman, Ray Charney, Duana Linville Dralos, Teresa Estrada, Fred Fairchild, Florence Fine, Dorothy Frank, Samuel S. Freed, Sam Freed, Martin Gilgas, William Goldman, Morton Hellman, Jerome Jerry Inger, Rose Inger, Herb Eisenberg, Julia Jacobson, Don Levine, Coraline Nelkin, Sherry Nelkin, Phyllis Schmidt, Marvin Shalinsky, Mitchell Shesol, Hazel Stapleton. If you're visiting this morning, both in person and virtually, and are observing a Yortzeit, we invite you to share the name as I go around. Zichronam Livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. On page 598, we join rising together, if you're able, for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Itgadal ve'itkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alema divra chirute ve'amlich malchute, be'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'bechaye dechol Beit Israel, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach, yalam u'lalemei alemaya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירם בלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
I would like to invite Shaefer to join me back on the bima. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a way to show our congratulations, our mazel tovs to Shaefer in just a moment. You're getting some candy, and you will get to shower kindly, gently, Shaefer with the sweetness of the candy. So I don't have to say, but I will. Do not eat it yet. You will have a chance to come pick it up after you throw it. But before that, I want to say a few words to Shaefer on this special occasion. And
Please don't play with your candy until it's time, 'cause it's really loud on the microphone. Thanks.
Thank you. I will protect it. So this week's Torah portion, it's called Metzorah, and it does mean leper, but the rabbi suggests that Metzorah is an acronym for another Hebrew word, for 3 Hebrew words, which is Motzi Shem Ra, which basically means slander. Thus, they insist that tzarat, this skin ailment, is a divine punishment for defaming others and for saying things that are not true behind people's backs. The connection between slander and tzarat is made clear later on in an episode in the book of Numbers where Miriam says something complaining about Moses, and as a result, she gets tzarat. She gets this skin disease. As we hear this interpretation, I find some consolation that it's not just you, Shaefer, and I who find the descriptions of skin ailments hard to relate to, although you did great. 2,000 years ago, the ancient rabbis also struggled with just talking about the plain meaning of all these yucky things. This is the yucky part of the Torah. Just like you taught us, the rabbis try to find some human aspects to these rituals. Shaefer, we thank you for reminding us that these rituals are about human relationships, about our ability to exclude others with our own words and actions, but also about the redemptive aspect of human relationships, which, if we choose so, we can include people. Slander and talking behind people's back is indeed a form of excluding others. So as we read about the ways in which people could re-enter the camp after Tzara'at, we are reminded of the power that our words hold to bring others in, to include others, to be more welcoming. This morning, you've challenged yourself and all of us indeed to open our hearts and minds to accept and welcome others without prejudice, which is the true meaning of chesed, compassion and love for our fellow human beings. My husband Chris and I join our father who couldn't be here, unfortunately, that's our dog, and Lucas, wishing you mazel tov. You may not know this, but Father spent some time with the Spizmans a few years ago as a trial, like a weekend with Father, and as a result, now you get to have Scarlett because you did good. You took care of Father. You brought him back to us in one piece, so we thank you. I would like to invite a board member of our congregation, Scott Latman, for a special presentation. We do this for every Bar Mitzvah, and everybody's special, so this is a special one too.
Get to the gifts. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of Congregation Beth Torah and the Association of Reformed Jewish Educators, accredited Weiner Religious School, and on behalf of the entire congregation, Mazel Tov. I am very excited to make this presentation with you today. First, thank you. The uplifting atmosphere you helped create today, it's been great. You're a great leader, and Rabbi wasn't needed many times, much, so awesome job. And we look forward to your ongoing participation at Beth Torah as a young adult. Always know that this congregation cares for you, and you will always have a home at this synagogue. Before we get to the gifts, one other thing I want to add is your Devar Torah, you had to have it in Leviticus. And Leviticus can be one of the more difficult areas to find common ground with. It's all about laws, right? And not so much on the stories. But you did a wonderful job of relating what you read and learned to something that we could all think about going on today. I thought you did a wonderful job, so congratulations. Okay, so the gifts. We have for you the following. You chose the Kiddush cup, so that's what's in here. From the Beth Torah gift shop, the book Jewish Literacy by Rabbi Joseph Telushkin. A gift certificate from Nifty to apply for a future trip to Israel. And a certificate of Bar Mitzvah to help you remember this day, always. So, congratulations to you and to your entire family.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Scott, and you may leave. I'm going to stay here because this is now the time for you to show your love on Shaefer. Let's You got one.
I got a swish one.
I gave mine away. That's the kind of guy. Hold on a second. We need to sing now. So we would like to thank everyone who has joined us to celebrate this Shabbat morning in Shaefer's becoming a Bar Mitzvah. Rabbi Kleiman, Leslie, Carmen, Howard, our technical team. Just very brief announcements. Karen, David, and Shaefer and Elliot hope that you will enjoy a bag of light refreshments in the celebration today. They are set up in the Ulam, which is our social hall. As you leave, you can pick them up. For those who are comfortable sitting and enjoying your snack together, there are tables and chairs set up in the Ulam. Since, again, I could say this, we didn't know, but since it's a nice day outside, you may also enjoy that in benches and picnic tables that we have. There's the Ulam, there's a little garden, you go out that way, and there are benches and picnic tables on that area of our grounds. Also reminded that for those of guests who are out of town, you're having lunch together in the Weiner Religious School area. As you exit, the sanctuary is to your left, and your lunch is waiting for you there. We will join together in Adon Olam on page 625. If you're able, please stand and join us.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, you know the words? Nivra, Le'et Nasa V'chetzotol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kiklot Akol, Levado Himloch Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hove, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa V'chetzotol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon, Beyado, Askit Druchim, Be'et Ishan Be'ahira Adon Olam, De'iruki Yevi'asi Adonai li velo hira Adon olam Adon olam Asher malach B'terem kol Yitzim nivra Le'et nasa v'chezo kol Azai melech shemo nikra Adon olam. If you are a relative of Shaefer and would like to join we invite you to come forward here, and we have a challah and a short kiddush here. So.